So welcome to our first of 6 classes in summer prep. I will give you my reason behind this, and then some housekeeping, and then we'll dive in. For about 2 years, my family and I have been following the Hebrew calendar, and this is not about faith, religion, or any of that, or to trash the Gregorian calendar, though it is a bit of rubbish, but that is not what I'm here for. The idea with the Hebraic calendar is more season, and I really love being in rhythm with how God designed our bodies, designed us emotionally, and there are seasons of life that we go through that with our culture, the culture that I live in is really school focused, and kids are out of school. Even if you don't have kids, you kind of have that mentality and that mindset. What I've enjoyed about following the Hebraic calendar is there's seasons, spring, summer, winter, fall, but within those, there's things that we're meant to do, that our bodies are designed to do it, that we are in rhythm with, that really promote health and healing and wellness. This is my whole area of life. This is what I do. As a hairdresser for 100 years, it's weird that I do this now, but not really, because I would take care of people's hair. And now I do my best to take care of their whole person, and on a number of levels. That being said, so following the calendar really spurred me on to look at, in the last year, which is really funny, we started this in 2020, my husband and I and the kids, and then it's a very interesting year to start something new. Why not? Everybody's doing something new. It was before we had to do something new. And so then last year we were kind of putting it into practice about like spring being more of a season of, I'll say this, in the Hebraic culture, it's going to war. It's also battling. And that might sound a little off-putting to some people, because you're like, we're not at war, we're in peace. That's hilarious if you think that, given what we've been through. In any case, there's like going to war on things that I look at my desk, clutter, let's say, going to war on eating better, those types of, so like, get your mind thinking in that way, whatever that looks like for you. With my children, sometimes like, okay, if you guys are totally undisciplined and your schooling is out the window or whatever, let's go to war on the things that are distracting us. In summertime, and this really goes along with agricultural life, before the Industrial Revolution, summer is a preparation time. It has driven me a little bit bananas that as a culture, again, like I mentioned, we go by the school calendar, even though that's such a small percentage of the population, especially in my circle of people that I hang around with. I don't actually hang around a lot of people with kids anymore, which is really funny, given that I have a whole army that I'm raising. Could be the ages of most of my kids now. But in any case, we still do that. So we think, oh, let's go on vacation. Why would you do that if you don't have children? I'm here to tell you that is no fun. As a homeschool mom, my favorite time is to go in October. So all of those types of things, with that mindset goes like, I'm just going to kick off my shoes, put some flip-flops or no shoes on, and live out the dog days of summer. It's hot. It's hard to want to do things that are motivating and exciting. My grandma grew up on an Indian reservation in Oklahoma, and she lived in California. And though she had a career and a job and all that, I still watched her go through that rhythm of summer preparation. She would can, she would maybe bake some things. We would plant, things that weren't plantable, if that's a word. Yeah, it is, in the spring. And then, things that would go into the winter, so like that mindset. And so as time has gone on, and last year, sorry, that thing is bothering me. Last year, I did a class about biblical freedom, doing emotional healing on a deep dive level, because I knew something was going to shift in September. Maybe that was just for me personally, given that my husband passed in August, but it really got me in the mindset of, you know what, you guys, this life, our days are not always promised. What we think is going to happen may not always happen. And 2020 taught me that we have to be really hyper ready for anything. Losing my husband and now raising 5 kids on my own taught me that kind of up that level. I'm like next level, need to be prepared about stuff. And it's not when we walk through this, please hear me. I'm not going to be sharing, any prepper stuff, any like get your guns and your all of it. Like that's just not my scene. I'm not discounting anybody who's seen that. That's just not how God designed me, and that's not my mission. I'm more of a like, I like to be in the mix kind of a person. You will not have me selling my house, moving into the country, being away from people. I want to be in with humans. So if that's what you're looking for, that's not this. For me, it's total body wellness. If you are not prepared physically, emotionally, and spiritually, no matter what your faith is, then you will not thrive in any change that comes. Everything will throw you off. You won't know how to handle it. And that means, really and truly in every area of your life, every area. Again, physical, emotional, and spiritual. Because here's the deal. We are a spirit. That's just truth. We're a 3-part being. We're a spirit, we have a soul, and we live in this body. We need to take care of all of it. There's statistics about how much money people spend on entertainment. We kind of, your physical body, maybe it's like, I don't know. I live in Collin County in Texas, and I was about to say like, what's it called? Faceless and all that. There's medical procedures. Collin County is the country's capital for, what is it called? Medical procedure destination. It's some other whatever thing like that. And I'm like, I grew up in California for the most part since I was 12. I'm like, Beverly Hills was that? Well done, Collin County. You have now exceeded that. Physical preparation is not making your face lighter and tighter and all that. This is really about being able to endure the long game. And as I have walked dozens and dozens, actually probably more hundreds now of people through emotional health and wellness, whether it's through my courses or the coaching that I do on the side, I'm more acutely aware that most people fall off the horse on one side or the other. Few tackle all 3 at one time. So kudos to all of you guys who are gonna like go up for the long haul with me for the 3 months in the summer and at least take a peek into those 3 areas, because there's very few people who do that. So even if you're here just kind of like, what is this all about? Well done. That takes a lot. My goal for us at the end, my intention, we all have our own goals, but my goal with this group and my intention is to just at least open your eyes to a different aspect of physical wellness, open your eyes to a different aspect of emotional health and well-being, open your eyes even to an aspect of spiritual health and wellness that you may not have really tapped into, if ever. And then just assess and say, where am I in this? Am I thriving? When I teach, one of my goals is to help people ask the question of themselves in whatever it is that we're talking about. Am I thriving in the area she's talking about? We can survive. And I'm going to be straight up real. Here's me. I got the widow card from now until Jesus takes me home. I'm going to play that forever. And here's the thing. I now can say, I know what it is to just barely survive. 8 years ago, I would have never said it was okay to get my kids takeout food for a week straight, sit on the couch, watch movies every single night. That was me. You can tell I'm not hiding anything. I have probably gained about 15 to 20 pounds since my husband passed. Not ashamed to say, it is what it is. It's reality. I can tell you, I was surviving. I'm alive. We're there. We were not thriving, and rightly so. That's understandable, but I don't want to stay there. And I have talked to many people in the last maybe 6 months-ish that have admitted finally, because I could see it in the beginning of 2021, but they're now admitting it and going, you know what, 2020 just kind of wiped me out and I don't quite know how to recover from that. And that's fair. It's so fair. The world just went, here, have fun, are the way we do business, the way we shop, the way we raise our kids, right? The way we work. And if you have a job and you're not an entrepreneur, everything is different. So my hope for you all at the end of this summer, as you prep and sort of assess things, that if nothing else, you in your mind are thinking, I want to be prepared for whatever is handed to me. I want to be able to step up, rise above, and kind of look at it from this angle and go, okay, what do we see here? Because I believe this is what God has for all of us. You know, if we look at it, we are spirit, we have a soul, and we're in a body. We're spirit beings first. If we take that view and rise above it, the way we handle life will look so different. So this week, and then in 2 weeks, we'll do physical prep part 1, physical prep part 2. When we think back in the last 2.5 years, there are a number of wake-up calls that people have had. There were a number of wake-up calls before 2.5 years ago. In our physical health, just speaking from 2020, we had the virus, right? And that really took a toll on a lot of people, whether it took them home to be with the Lord early, or they were wiped out physically. I'm sure you've talked to people and you just see what has happened. In our emotional health, there was ramifications of all of that. And then I didn't live here in Texas, so I'm not sure how it was in your neck of the woods, wherever you all live. But I know when I lived on the East Coast, the BLM rioting took a huge emotional toll on everybody. And it really, again, depending on the demographics in which you live with, that's pretty huge. And now just things ramp up. I mean, I don't know if you can open if I subscribe to the Dallas Morning News just because I want to see what's happening and how I can pray better. But you can't really open the paper without something really pinging in your emotions. And overall, the spiritual health, as many grapple with who God is, if he's a thing, how do they interact with such a being? And why would a good God let all this happen? I mean, gosh, I feel like people really need to come up with something better to ask. That's sort of a tired question, in my opinion, in my humble, if there is a thing, opinion. So if we're not fully rooted and grounded, then we're always going to be tossed around, prone to somebody else's whims and ways. So that's totally fine if that's your desire, but I suspect most of you, it's not, because you're here. This month, I hope you all want, is to see a positive change and maybe look at our bodies a little bit different. When I got into Young Living, I'll share this. Obviously, most of you know my story with Zion and wanting to do better with our physical health. And a couple years later, we went plant-based and all that. So we were doing a lot of things to better ourselves physically. And as network marketing has hit the scene and everybody's got a thing, everybody's got something they're selling, the biggest thing I see is drink this drink, take this pill, do this one thing, and all your problems will magically disappear. There was one post recently, and I very rarely just get incensed and want to commit hara-kiri or slap the person writing the post anymore. I'm whatever, you do you, and I can do this so easy, right? It's like so easy, but this person, because I got sucked in, I was like, oh my God, she's going to talk about emotional health. Finally, somebody's going to talk intelligently about how, because she was talking about how, she was just in a funk, was losing weight, and yada, yada. And I'm like, yeah, she's going to get to the part where it's like, oh, her emotions, and she dealt with it. And like a sucker, I read the whole post, and it was all about her magical new drink from her magical new company she was with. I thought, you mean to tell me, number one, this is all about your product. Number two, this is about, you think gut health is going to, like, you're going to drink this drink and that's going to fix your gut. And now I was done. I had to go, and now look, now I'm ranting and raving to you guys. My apologies. I clearly need to put on my forgiveness and move along. But it was driving me nuts because I'm like, man, no, that's not how this works. I take a probiotic. Yes, it helps. But a probiotic did not help me emotionally get through the death of my husband. Sorry, guys, it's not a thing. One oil is not going to help me. Yes, bait and switch, 100%. One oil is not going to help me maneuver through how to work on my business. It's not just a one and done thing. So we think about our physical health. It's not about taking a pill or a magical drink or that one supplement that's just going to change your life. I mean, I will say though, Super B for me was kind of a game changer. That was just me. But it wasn't something that just changed my life, or even working through a high intensity workout. All of those things are beneficial in and of themselves, but not one thing is a one and done. So to begin with, the one thing you do need to know is that it takes 3 to 4 months for cells to fully regenerate. If I had my choice, I would have done this class in the reverse order. We would have started out with spiritual. We would have done emotions in the middle, because that's like the nougaty goodness of all of it. And then we would have finished off with physical. But the truth is, if we start off with the physical, by September, your cells now will have had a full turnover. I don't know, maybe you start on your birthday. I'm not even sure how that all works, but let's think about it. My birthday was just at the end of May. So let's pretend my cells are in the process of now turning over. By September, I got fresh new cells pretty much everywhere. And that'll be with you guys. You'll have at least gone through one cycle. And then as you do more by mid-fall, you're now on your second fresh batch of cells. And why that's important is because if you are taking a good supplement, if you are on an excellent exercise regime, drinking water, you may see some results in a month. You may feel a little bit different in a couple weeks, but to fully see the benefits in all 11 of your body systems, it's going to take about 3 to 4 months. And that might be hard for some, where they're like, I don't want to wait that long. It's okay. Well, look, spoiler alert, you're going to have to wait or move along, right? Do something else for the summer. 3 to 4 months, fully regenerate. That's where we can assess and say, is this working? Now, along the way, so in 2 weeks, we'll have set our goals. We could say, like, is this working in this way? Am I able to stick to this? Am I pushing too hard? Am I not pushing myself hard enough? Is there something else that I could tweak? And maybe how can I do that? Those types of things. But we'll be off to something else and doing some other type of a class for the fall for us to really gather together and say, did we find good results? That's up to you. This class series is going to get you thinking on a few critical areas to improving what you've got going on. If you're someone that's like, I'm really all set, I feel pretty good. I was that person, by the way, when I started working out with a trainer, I don't know, half a dozen or more years ago. We went there because I'm like, I don't know, I just want to shake off the cobwebs. And he said to me, he says, well, you know what, then my goal for you is going to be to do a pull-up. To which I looked at him, I'm like, have you seen these arms? My arms, even as chubby as they are right now, I still have a little definition. But at the time, I looked like my son Jonah, which was just like a noodle. And he said very seriously, he's like, look, in 9/11, a lot of people's lives would have been saved had they been able just to pull themselves up like this to be able to reach the next ledge. I thought that was so profound. And I said, and the chance of me having to do that, because I like to bust people's chops like that. He goes, all right, you like being out on the ocean. What if you fall out of a boat? I thought, okay, that's fair. Right, Lisa, yeah, pulling yourself up. That's fair. There's not always going to be a ladder. So we had a good point. So that was just something that his goal helped me set goals. Something to think about as you're thinking about physical things. So we're going to go through a couple of questions that I want you guys to ask yourself and maybe answer them now, maybe just write them down for later. But the first one is, if tomorrow you had a miracle occur in your body, what would that miracle be? And please be serious, because I've sat with people and asked them this question, and everybody's a smart mouth, right? They're like, lose 50 pounds overnight. I'm like, wow, okay, let's try that again. And even if you're saying, yeah, lose 50 pounds, I'm like, okay, then how are we going to do that? Because now it's like, well, if you're going to lose 50 pounds, then we all know that that's going to take some serious commitment. I love that. No back pain. Yeah. So since Lisa shared that, I'll share. So that is no back pain. So we can assess, like, why is there back pain in the beginning? How's your core doing? Maybe it's just simply changing up some core exercises. Maybe we need to see a chiropractor. Maybe you've got some emotion junk there. I mean, really, a lot of these things we can start diving into. And you guys know me, I'm going to go with, if you got pain anywhere, chances are there's some emotion stored, so we can work on that. So you see how the physical really does tie into emotional and even to some extent spiritual. So if you had that miracle occur, what would it be? Now there's two other questions to ask. And the first one is kind of a sub question. What would be different? What would be different in your life if that occurred? How would your day, your week, or your life be different? And the third thing is, why? Why do you want that change? Now, this is all physical, guys. I should have mentioned in case I didn't. This is all, we're all talking about physical here.
Do you want us to answer in the chat?
You can if you want, Kathy.
Okay.
It was an option, but if you want to keep it to yourself, totally keep it's up to you.
Okay, I wasn't sure what the expectations were.
Yeah, no, great question. Just to say, and I'm not sure if you were on when I said it, but if you guys want to just chime in, just like Kathy did, and that was great. Just, ask, share in the chat. We were saying that this is really more of a roundtable discussion, as if you guys were at my kitchen table. So why would you want that? When we think about our why of anything, why am I doing this? And maybe this is a personality thing. This may not be everyone's bent, but I know for me and for the 5 different personalities that I'm raising, a lot of times we want to know the why. The why will help us really set a goal and decide, is this something that I'm seeking? For me, realizing that, hey, I'm actually an emotional eater. When things are hard, I love a good sweet or salty or both, because it's a quick feel-good hormone. And as I'm grabbing my bowl of ice cream for the 5th night in a row and putting little chopped nuts and all that on, I know I'm like, yep, totally eating my emotions right now. Have my stress away right here. Doesn't matter. I know what I'm doing. So for me, the why is because I'm 49, I'm crowding 50, and I made a commitment to myself and my husband, for that matter, that I'm a runner. I like feeling healthy. I like feeling strong. I don't want grief to take over my physical health. For me, that's my why, just to share with you guys. Yours could be totally different. So the first thing we need to assess is, why isn't that miracle occurring already? Lisa shared in the chat, osteoporosis, compressed disc. Okay, the emotions, all of that. I'm pretty sure all of you guys, at least online with me, you're young living people. We all understand, or at least have heard, and possibly maybe all agree, that your body can regenerate normally. So if something like bone issues is occurring, well, that can be reversed. We know that. Science says so. If you need some more backup research, we can chat offline and I can send you some research on all of that. Yeah, and Kathy, perfect health. No more physical discomfort, improved mental and emotional health. Totally. All of that goes together. So why is this not happening already? More energy, mental clarity. Oh, I love that. Not needing a nap, Angie, right? Yes. And that is so possible. I'll share this with you. And again, I realize I'm talking to maybe not a lot of different faiths, but maybe a lot of different beliefs. But one sticking point for me in scripture is the verse that says, where Moses, his eyes were not dim and his vigor was not abated. Like he was still as strong as he at 120 years old as he was at 40. And I know if it's in scripture, it's for me. It just is. And that's that. And so if it's not, you know what, if If I end up having like eyes like this and I'm like this at 120, well, I was much happier believing that I could be, eyes wide and strong, always looking for how to get there, right? So with that being said, I think at however old we are, we can go through and have our eyes get better and have our energy get stronger. It can happen. Energy to do all the things I want to do. Keeping up with your 8 grandchildren. My goodness, Laura, that's a lot, and that's awesome. It's interesting that the older my children get, the more strong and healthy I want to be. I don't know if I was just too busy with all the little ones to even care, but now I really want to keep up with them. So if we ask ourselves the question, why is this not happening? Is it just simply derailing from a pattern in my case, that I had excellent habits and now I don't anymore, or I didn't rather, they have changed. Maybe you are new to health and wellness. Even if you use Young Living or you take supplements, that doesn't mean that you are a veteran in health and wellness. Everybody came into Young Living for a different reason. We all, if it were me, before we went plant-based and I started working out, for me, coming in Young Living was basically to save my son's life. I'm just going to be straight up honest with you guys. My health habits were probably not on point. This type of class would have been for me. So there's other things to consider: DNA makeup, family of origin habits, lifestyle. Like, do you work 10 hours a day, either sitting at a desk for 6 to 8 of those and then driving an hour to and from work? A lot of people work from home now, so that may not be everyone's case. Maybe it's a little bit more challenging for you to think about even eating a little bit healthier, drinking more water, or even just simply moving. Oh, Kathy, I'm sorry. I have to digress. As she said, this better health for her horse. Oh, for your horses. Nice. As you said about horses, since Marcus passed, my kids and I have gone back into loving horses, and I've been riding since I was 3. And so we've been diving into that more and more. And I just, my eyes well up with tears when I think about riding. It's weird. So obviously it's a thing for me. So I love that you said that. Even if you are thin, you could be what our family calls skinny fat. Now, I don't know how many of you guys have heard me say this, but skinny fat is a real thing. Skinny fat is being thin, or a healthy weight per a man-made thought by weight, by the way, because to me, the research I've done, there is no right weight to be, because we all are different heights. We have different family heritage. My family's Hungarian and Native American and Irish. You take your pick. Some are stout, some are tall and thin. So the average weight it's how God designed you. I'll just say that. But again, you could be thinner, a healthy weight per man-made standards, but have maybe high blood pressure, clogged arteries, or unable to even walk at a brisk pace or run a mile. Eating healthy is just one way to prepare the body for fall and winter. Exercising is another way. Taking your supplements is another way. The it's a complex machine. So it's going to take more than one thing. So again, as I ask you these questions, if you could have the miracle occur, be thinking in terms of exercise, food, exercise and movement. So even if you want to work out, let's say half hour to hour in a day, there needs to be more movement throughout the day. So maybe if you're like me, you sit here and you write a lot, or you're at your computer, can you get an exercise ball to sit on so that your core is getting worked out? Can you get up and maybe set your watch or your phone to get up and kind of walk around for 10 minutes? Just making yourself think movement. Parking, what is it? Who was that trainer from Biggest Loser? He would always call it accidental exercise, Bob, somebody or other. Parking, way at the end of the parking lot at the market or the mall, and then walking. Yes, in the Texas heat, or yes, in the Southern heat if you are in the South. It's okay, you can sweat a little bit, just, get some purification, you're all set, no worries. So there's some basics to get you started, and this is what we'll finish up with tonight and go over. So the first thing is drink more water. Drinking more water for me is also like when we talk about emotions, spoiler alert, I will talk about journaling. It is what it is. You can change your life by drinking more water, journaling more for your emotional health, and then reading your Bible every day, once a day. If you do those things, you're probably all ready. You're all set. It's alarming how dehydrated most people are. Even if they're like, I pee all the time, I drink tons of water. I'm like, bet me. I'd love to know, because doctors, all the people will tell you you're supposed to drink half your body weight in water. And probably Trish is laughing because I'm sure you've heard me say, it's not half your body weight. It's all your body weight in ounces. We're 70% water. I would give doctors a pass if they said you need to drink 70% of your body weight in ounces. Then I go, okay, I see where you got that. That's fair. I'll let you guys pass on that. But they don't. They do half the body weight because it's easier. It's an easier number. Yeah, and many people struggle with half. But I've also talked to more holistic doctors that have said most people's conditions would clear up if they would just drink enough water. Isn't that interesting? And if you are thirsty, you're dehydrated. Right? And we're all like, yep. And so for me, if I weigh 160 pounds, I need 160 ounces. I was doing that math with my son, my Zion, who's almost 21, and he was drinking these little like glasses of water. I'm like, babe, you work out, you're a waiter, all like, how much water? Because when he was working in the moving company, he had this big jug and he just filled it up all day long and constantly replenish. Well, now it's, it's out of mind, out of sight, or out of sight, out of mind. And when we were doing the math, he's like, Mom, that's like, I don't know, whatever, 11 or 12 glasses of water. I'm like, drink up. And, for him, he struggles with some acne. And I'm like, at almost 21, this shouldn't be. You need more water. Right. And Trish, I think you mean that if people are hungry, they're dehydrated. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes if you just drink some water, you won't feel hungry. Yes, Lisa. I feel like you and I could teach this class together. Yes, exactly that. So for those of you watching later, it says if you drink anything with caffeine, you need to drink extra water to override that. So for math's sake, if you drink a cup of coffee, let's say 8 ounces, then you would want to drink 8 ounces of water to flush it out of your system. That's like neutral, right? You can have like here, if you picture on a graph, you've got the negative number, right? That's dehydrated. Counterbalancing it with enough water, that brings us to neutral. Well, we're always looking to thrive. We want to go more. So that would be drinking the body weight in water, not counting I had a cup of water and a cup of coffee, right? So you want to do that. Oh, Laura, that's awesome. 60 to 100% a day. Yep. Yeah, you're doing good then. I'm like, why are you here? You're good. If you don't journal, maybe there'll be something for you next time, right? So yeah, and so doing that. So if you're somebody that's like, I don't really get 100%, maybe that's just your goal. Sorry, I was just reading hers. Yeah, exactly, Kathy. If they say they drink 8 and you look at them and they, yes, you're right. You can look and be like, I don't feel like you drink enough. Replenishing your cells. So here's some things about drinking water. It replenishes your cells. It gives them the best chance to regenerate normally. Regeneration, proper normal regeneration begins with a healthy amount of flushing out the body with pure, fresh water. When we think about it, the average person here in Texas or in the Northeast, here in Texas, it's sweet tea. In the Northeast, I don't know if you guys know, but it's iced coffee, even in the winter. It's super weird. But that being said, that most people get an average of 20 ounces of either sweet tea or iced coffee each time. That's a lot of liquid that doesn't have any pure fresh water. And on top of that, anything with caffeine is really dehydrating. And I don't know if you are sensitive like I am, but when I drink coffee, I realize like, ooh, I'm real thirsty after, I feel like I need to drink water. So just be thinking about that if that's you. And the other side, just on a side note, as we teach this class, any of my classes that I share, I'm hoping that you share the information with those around you, because not everybody knows me, obviously, but they know you. And, you know, all of you on here know at least 3,000 people. That's just statistically speaking. So if you can go like share with half of them, that'd be great. We'd have a lot less dehydrated humans running around. So after you up your intake water, right? That's number one. If you are not drinking 100% of your body weight, like let's all do that. That was my first goal in May. Let's get my water up. After water, four things that people need, most humans need to survive is water, food, oxygen, and a proper functioning nervous system. Those are basics. That's just surviving. But we're wanting to go above the surviving. So if you're wondering what kind of food, what should we eat? I'm laughing that all of you are here on live, and then the other 19 people who signed up, knowing that I'm a plant-based eater. And I'm going to talk about food and physical stuff, but I'm not going to talk about what to eat. I'm not going to say, oh, you should eat a plant-based diet or what. Here's me. Eat what's right for your body. You know, you intuitively know, everybody does. Because there's, you know, everybody at our ages, right? I mean, unless you're like my daughter who's almost 10, most of us know what makes us feel good. Some people feel amazing, like literally feel like they could run a marathon after eating some steak and a potato and a nice salad. I don't feel well when I eat meat. Having a vegan diet is perfect for me because I feel incredible after eating a big salad, and I love beets and Brussels sprouts and all the weird vegetables. That's just me. But I have a friend that I went to lunch with, and she's like, she needs her beef. Her body just kind of wilts like a little flower. So what I'm about to share with you, just have in your mind, this is not a promotion for plant-based eating. That being said, if you're not getting a salad to push the meat through, you also might want to have some fiber in there to help, you know, flush it all out. On a side note about eating, dairy products, particularly for women, is really detrimental to our bones and our digestive system. So that might be something to consider, either cutting back or cutting out for a season and just seeing how you feel, seeing if it helps you in any improving. There are 6 types of essential nutrients that we all need. So this, as I shared, be thinking in terms of food and supplements. Young Living has a ton of supplements, and a lot of them are great, but not everybody can take every supplement that's marketed with Young Living or anybody else. All I know is Young Living supplements, well, and a little bit of Standard Process. Those 2 companies are the only ones that I ever found results with that I could tell a difference. If you can't use those supplements, or there's some company that you're just married to and you love, again, this is just to give you some overall ballpark information. But when I talk about what supplements I like, I will reference Young Living probably 96% of the time, because again, I do enjoy Standard Process for some other things. So the first thing is that everybody needs is carbohydrates. There was a long time ago when I first became a hairdresser, there was like this no carb craze. And then they found years later, everybody's brain was shrinking from that. So don't do that. Carbs are your friend, unless you want a shrunken brain, in which case, well, have at it. Shrink that brain all the way. They get a bad rap as fattening. They're not fattening. They're not at all. Carbohydrates cause your brain to thrive. You can think better, clearer, and all that. Now, you can get carbohydrates from other things other than bread. We all know this, right? As we've heard about it. Like, don't eat carrots if you're doing a low carb diet. Okay, well, there goes your eyesight. I mean, carrots are amazing for your body on so many levels. The second thing is proteins. What's my favorite question people ask me as a plant-based eater? How do you get your protein? I just look at them. I'm like, did you really? Because plants, all plants are made of protein. I can get the same amount of protein if I eat a half a pound of cooked spinach, which I love, as I can if I eat a piece of chicken. I would rather do that. It's better for my body. So if you are needing more protein, you can get a lot of protein. Actually, what's that ratio, pound per ounce, whatever, with almonds, cashews, good fats, good protein. And it may not weigh you down like a steak dinner will if you're, or steak lunch if you have to work in the afternoon. There's, just kind of play around with that idea a little bit. Good fats. We all know what good fats are. Avocados, olive oil is good for you, but again, in moderation, because still that's a calorie dense and not a lot of nutrients fat. So if you're going to eat some fats, you want to make sure that they have a lot of nutrients. Like I say, avocados, nuts, that type of thing. Okay, here's some vitamins that are critical for the body. A, B's, C, D, and vitamin K. These are the ones that most people are deficient in, and we need a good sufficient amount of. You can't get too much vitamin C, vitamin D, you want to be careful, but really you probably have to drink a whole bottle of vitamin D, or even take a whole bottle of super D vitamin in order to have any kind of marginal ramifications. There's minerals that you need, and I'm going to share with you what they benefit, because most of us know our A's, B's, C's, D, and vitamin K, why those are good, like K for blood clotting, C for your immune system and bones and all that, D, immune system and bone structure, B's, energy and all that kind of thing, brain health. But minerals, for me personally, outside of calcium, I really wasn't sure what all of these do. So I'll share with you that. The first one is calcium, as I mentioned. Most of us know calcium for the bone health. Maybe I was the only one that didn't know, but it's also good for your blood vessels, your circulatory system, not just your skeletal system. Calcium is also amazing for hormone release. I did not know that either. Chloride is one that's an important mineral that we need, and that helps with water balance and maintaining a good acidic base, gastric acid production balance. So just all the juices in here, and how your water is staying in your cells versus being flushed out. The third mineral we need is potassium. I know this one a lot only because I used to get a lot of leg cramps because I grew about 6 inches in one summer. And being pregnant, if you've been pregnant and you've had those lovely leg cramps, hey, bananas and potatoes are your friends through pregnancy. So potassium is incredible for that, but also hormone release, protein formation, and maintenance of membrane potential and regulation of water balance and blood pressure. Again, similar to chloride. Sorry, I was just looking at Laura saying, follow Trim Healthy Mama. Oh, I've heard a lot of good things about her. Low glycemic carbs. Interesting. So that makes a huge difference too, the glycemic index on it. Yeah, for sure. So yes, I've heard a lot of good things about her, or that group. Magnesium is the fourth mineral that we want to make sure we get in. So bones, teeth, producing enzymes, storing and releasing of hormones, blood clotting, same kind of deal as vitamin K. Sodium. Now this is
before you move on from magnesium. Magnesium is considered the women's mineral. Zinc is the men's mineral, and magnesium is the women's mineral. I would put forth that for women, magnesium should be our top mineral. Also,
I agree with that.
We cannot absorb the calcium unless we have magnesium with it. That's why every single calcium supplement has magnesium in it. But you can't use the magnesium that's in that supplement for the things that magnesium does for you, like relax the muscles, because the body's using it to absorb the calcium. Thank you very much, Trisha. I really appreciate all that head nodding. Everybody wants to be backed up. And I had really bad bone spurs. And my sister is the one that started me on magnesium. And since then, I have become the magnesium queen. Mm-hmm. There was no surgery. There's no inserts in my shoes. I can walk barefoot perfectly fine since I started taking magnesium. And the thing is, you can tell when you're taking enough, when your poop gets too thin. Not diarrhea, but like pencil thin. Back off, Jack.
Okay, Kathy, I'm so grateful for that. And thank you, Trish, for that confirmation too, because number one, I forget that. And number two, for you saying with the bone spurs, Kathy, can you just expand just a little bit more, if you don't mind, on what your testimony is with that?
So I heard a doctor say, when I started researching this, I heard a doctor say that magnesium opens the door for calcium to get into the bone. So if you don't have enough magnesium, that calcium is going to get deposited on the outside of the bone. And
Okay.
I had heel spurs really bad, to the point where I could not stand up and walk. I had to stand up, let the bottom of my feet relax a little bit, and then I could take steps.
Oof,
Yeah, and magnesium is what did it for me.
that's
So,
fantastic. Thank you so much. Trish, did you want to add anything to that?
Yes. So the magnesium I take is from Standard Process. It's the magnesium lactate.
Okay.
So it's different than most of the over counters that you get in the stores, as somebody just posted in the chat. I think it was Lisa. But my chiropractor actually started me on magnesium for my Charlie horses. So it's my leg cramp. And when I donate plasma, I have to be taking magnesium in order to prevent the cramping that can happen when they give you the anticoagulant. But yeah, I tend to take it at night before I go to bed, so it helps me relax. And just like Kathy said, I can totally tell when I'm not taking it.
Okay.
So for me, it was better than a potassium for leg cramps. That's what mine was.
Okay. And thank you, ladies. I appreciate that. And Laura, I have the same question. She asked about magnesium creams. Because if I'm not mistaken, isn't that, I made a magnesium, I think it was magnesium now. If you put it on your skin, does it kind of burn? Yes. Okay. So Lisa, you've got something there.
This is called Life Flow, and I think I got it on Amazon. And it's pure magnesium oil spray. And when you're having a muscle spasm or cramps or some, leg cramps or something, this right here is clean. It's real clean. They have a lotion, but the lotion has fragrance in it, so I don't get it. But this has no fragrance in it, and it'll tingle.
Yes. Okay.
It'll tingle. And be careful if you're spraying it and it's a spray and you're going to get it like on your floor or something. Be careful not to let your dogs come behind you and lick.
Got it. Okay.
They don't need.
I spray it on my hand. Like when I do get a leg, before CBD Calm came out, that's what I used when I got a leg cramp. And I would spray it on my hand and rub it on my legs. Now I keep the bottle of CBD Calm next to my bed, and if I get a leg cramp, I just take the top off, put it on my leg, and my leg cramp goes away. So the other thing I have always questioned is the creams, the topical magnesium. Does your heart benefit from that? Trisha, do you know the answer to this? Because magnesium is outstanding for your heart. Your heart is just, magnesium relaxes muscles.
Yeah.
And your heart and your colon are muscles. I heard someone say, do you guys know who am I the only one in here old enough to know who Tim Russert was, or does?
I don't know, but
No, I'm older than Jen.
Well, I'm older than Jen. Everybody's older than Jen. She just thinks she's old.
I'm from Buffalo, the local hero.
Okay, so Tim Russert, if Tim Russert had been taking magnesium, he probably would not have died. He was in outstanding health. He worked out on the treadmill that morning in his office. But when you get a muscle cramp and the muscle happens to be your heart, you're in trouble.
What? Wow.
Yeah, think about that. So I always take magnesium to bowel tolerance to benefit all my muscles. And because magnesium is called the women's mineral.
My favorite thing about teaching a class is when I learn probably more than I'm sharing. So ladies, thank you, all of you. Thank you so much for sharing, because yeah, I feel the same, Laura. That was worth all the information right there. And I know about magnesium and calcium, but that your sharing was really like the thing that I need to say, yeah, I need to make sure that's an everyday supplement, especially that last one, Kathy. Wow. Who would have thought that you can get a muscle cramp in your heart? I mean, it's a muscle. So yeah, That makes a lot of sense, relaxing for all of it. So perfect. Okay, I do have one question, if you guys don't mind me asking. Age-wise, and I think some of you may have kids or at least grandkids that, what is the age for magnesium intake? Do you all know?
I do not know, but I will tell you this, Jen. Farmers put calcium on the soil because it's cheap. You can
Right.
grind up, one of the cheapest ways is to grind up drywall and put it on the soil. They
Okay,
never put magnesium on the soil, and they don't put most other minerals either. And so that's part of the reason why we are all magnesium deficient.
interesting.
But I can't answer your specific question. But it's not in our fruits and vegetables.
Right, yeah, that makes sense. We are so mineral depleted. Yeah, that's for sure. Okay, and I'm sure I can find out with a just quick ask for some other folks too. So that was awesome. Okay, so now we are all, show of hands, how many of us are gonna make sure our magnesium is on point every day and tell everybody. Okay, so magnesium. So then sodium, we were just talking about that. Sodium is important because it helps transport nutrients. And again, it regulates our water balance. We do need to have some amount of salt every day. Now, unless you're on a really special diet, if your blood pressure is off the charts and you fix your diet and you're working on other things, emotionals and all that, and it's still high, some people just have to have absolutely no salt, in which case, yeah, not just white table salt either. That's truth.
Well, and
Oh, go ahead.
Jen, sorry, with telling everyone or encouraging all of us to drink more water.
Mhm.
One of the quote side effects, especially if you're not taking your supplements enough, is you can wash the minerals out of your body.
Right.
And just even adding a little bit of good, not the yucky table salt, good salt to your water, or putting a teaspoon in your mouth and holding it in your mouth and then drinking your water can help replenish those minerals. It's basically because when you drink a lot of water, you're going to wash, your electrolytes will drop. And if you start getting dizzy or lightheaded, you can't concentrate, you could be basically, washing everything out of your system.
Yeah, in a situation for sure.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm reading Kathy say they need more because it has iodine in it, but our body can't use iodine, so it occupies iodine receptors. Yes, that leads to thyroid issues. Right. Yep. A piece you're talking about, like maybe a rock salt, Himalayan, that type of thing. Yeah, yeah. Or the coarse salt.
I like real salt, REAL. And the reason I like it is because it comes from the United States.
Well, yeah, you mentioned that on a post we did in the Healing Haven. So that was good. So that's the name of it, real salt.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So if you guys got that, if you want to get some, yeah, buy US if you can, for sure. It's very helpful. Okay. So salt, phosphorus is the next one. That one, again, it helps with bones and your DNA. The world is after our DNA, like it or not, that's truth. They don't care what you think about the vaccine or what you don't think about the vaccine. The world is after your DNA. Here's my little soapbox. Take it for what it's worth. It's worth a lot, in my opinion. And this could end our friendship. It could expand our friendship. Don't know, don't really care at this point. There is a man that everybody is wanting to, not everybody, a lot of people want to drive his car, the Tesla. And this man wants to put a microchip in your brain called Neuralink. Please don't tell me that the world is not after your DNA. You need to take things to support and protect your DNA. Having said that, phosphorus is one key one. The second thing I want to share with you guys is Dr. Doug Corrigan has a whole protocol of DNA protecting oils. You guys should download that. It's $10. Thank you, Lisa, for writing that. It's $10, I believe. Maybe I could be off a couple dollars just to get his recipes, but it is worth it. 10. Thank you, Trish. It is worth it. So speaking of physical health, protecting your DNA is crucial in our times and will only get more so. And I think I'm talking to like-minded people, but there could be people listening later that's not. But I can assure you, if you do your research properly, you will know that's truth. There's a lot of things we can do to protect our DNA. There's a lot of things that we can do to cleanse our DNA as well. So, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, I got distracted by the bentonite clay. That's another good one. Omega-3 fatty acids those are a huge integral part of cell membranes. And really, fatty acids are beneficial on a number of levels. It reminds me of how Kathy and Kathy and Trish were talking about magnesium. Fatty acids, omega-3s are very similar to that, really help. And I believe when you think about like heart disease and your clean and clear artery walls, clotting of blood, regular clotting, I should say, all of that supports. So if you're not taking your omega-3s, consider that as well. Probably not as crucial, well, maybe, but I feel like I am on the magnesium train. I'm feeling that. Our body doesn't produce fatty acids. So a lot of researchers recommend that healthy people, now remember, these are people who are here, not here below the line, but here and even here. So those healthy people would consume 500 milligrams daily. So if you are not healthy, somebody has heart disease or is in sort of a failure, then you're going to want to up it. But that's something to talk to your practitioner about. Again, I am not a doctor. I just like to pretend I am one because I've had a lot of people in my life with a lot of medical crisis. So there's that. Okay. So I'm looking at your chats and I'm realizing not all that's for me. Omega-3s. Yes. I'm sorry. Did I not say that? Omega-3 fatty acids. Remember, when we're talking about vitamins, minerals, omegas, good fats, all of that, it's your choice on what you guys use. As I shared a minute ago, I use Young Living for the most part, or standard process. We've shared a couple things that, Lisa shared one for the magnesium, and I know you guys have talked about some different things. One of the things that I wanted to encourage as we walk through this summer together, I'm hoping and praying that this is a group that you guys will stay with. On my website, on weirtexas.com, I have a group for just this, a summer prep discussion, so that we can do this kind of stuff. If you found something and think, I love this worked for me, and this is why, and you want to share it, please do so. So again, as I talk about supplements and minerals, Young Living is what I know best, but it doesn't always work for everybody's body. Our bodies, our DNA they're so different. But if you have a question about something Young Living, I'll do my best to answer. And the things that I have found to work, since I have, I'll just say this, since I have fallen in love with my business with Young Living, I only talk about what works for me. Because we have, Kathy, I think you've been using Young Living longer, so you probably have the actual number on this, but we have hundreds of supplements. Maybe I'm exaggerating. Hundreds of oils, handfuls of supplements. It's hard to know. I know a lot about a lot of them, but again, your DNA is your DNA. I know what they do, but you won't know until you take the pill, take the drops, take the whatever. Were you going to say something, Kathy?
Yeah, I was going to say, and they're constantly adding more supplements.
Yeah.
I will tell you, my supplement testimony is that I was taking supplements from another company because frankly, Young Living was much more expensive.
Sure.
And when I first got my Zyto, I Zyto scanned for needing enzymes. And I was already taking them from that other company.
Gosh.
What does that tell you?
Yeah.
So I stopped and I started taking Essential Zyme and Allerzyme and Essential Zymes 4 is what I scanned for.
Yeah.
A rash that I had been battling for 4 years went away within a month of starting to take those enzymes. And now I am exactly the opposite. If Young Living makes it, I take it.
Yeah.
I don't go outside of the Young Living family for supplements unless Young Living doesn't make it, which we don't have a magnesium supplement. We have magnesium sprinkled around in some of the supplements, but we don't have a magnesium supplement. And hey, we're getting some new supplements on Thursday Doc Ollie said we're getting 2 that everybody's going to want to take every day.
I'm like, we sure are.
And Dr. Purser said that we're getting some for hormone replacement therapy. So I'm real excited. And that's the other thing is we have so many supplements for women's hormones.
Mhm.
Everybody doesn't need Femigen or Endogize or Cortistop. You know, different people's bodies are different and you need what you need. And hey, you might need Cortistop this month and something different next month, you know? So
Yeah,
we're blessed to have so many choices.
we really are. And I'm like you, Kathy. I've taken supplements since I was 19. I've taken a probiotic. You know, I thought I was buying the right thing because I'd buy it at this store in California called Wild Oats. It was like a Whole Foods equivalent or a Whole Foods. That was, you know, I thought that was good. And when I first started taking Life 9, that was my gateway. Well, Super B, but then really seeing a difference was my gateway was Life 9. I'm like, wow, that actually worked. To not get too graphic, but it really was amazing. And so I'm with Kathy on that. But again, I would rather take from my own company and I trust them. I've seen it. You guys probably have all been to the farms and all that. Laura, did you want to share something?
Yeah, I was taking, this was before Young Living came out with a vitamin D. I was taking a health food store vitamin D supplement. And when my blood work came back, my vitamin D was so low that I had to be put on the 100,000 IU once weekly vitamin D for my doctor.
Yeah.
And since then I've now been taking the Young Living one each day. Actually, I take it at like dusk because Lindsay Elmore said that's when we metabolize it best, supposedly. But I haven't had to take, my vitamin D levels now come back right on target.
Let me interrupt something. I'm a clinical pharmacist. When is the sun up? When is the sun out? At nighttime or in the daytime?
Daytime?
Vitamin D, where do you get vitamin D if you're going to take it completely natural? If you're going to get it completely natural, where do you get it?
Daytime, yeah.
From the sun. Take your vitamin D. Believe me, I've counseled 1 million patients. You take your vitamin D in the mornings.
Okay.
Okay.
And it's also fat soluble. Take your vitamin D with something fatty.
Oh,
Okay.
didn't know that part either.
Yes.
Huh. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. I hear people do that and I'm like, no. And I know Lindsay Elmore, I know she's got a good reputation. I've been a pharmacist for 40 years. I got her on it. Okay. With golden turmeric milk, you can take it in the morning.
It's a great
But you have to think of when the sun is up. Also, I just recently started using Illuminize at bedtime because I listen to Joe Mercola. I follow Joe Mercola, and he says you should be taking the Azanthan in the evening. And I went, without food. I went, that's bedtime. And Deb is on here. My biofeedback lady said, and I knew this, but I was taking Cortistop because you normally say to take Cortistop in the morning. Take Cortistop 2 capsules at bedtime for 2 weeks, lay off a week, start back up for 2 weeks, lay off a week, because you don't want your body to become totally sensitive to it, but you will sleep like a baby if you're taking your Cortistop at night instead of during the day, because our cortisol is the highest first thing in the morning and your cortisol drops. And so basically what you're doing is by taking it at nighttime, you're helping to keep the cortisol spike that you have in the morning lower.
So wait, I have a question on that. It says to take, because I started taking that after realizing, probably a little stress. It says to take it like 1 or 2 in the morning and then 1 or 2 at bedtime. If that's not the case, is what you're saying.
You don't even have to take it in the morning. If you'll take it, you have a cortisol is normally released 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And so if you're taking it bedtime, you already have it in your system to kind of keep your cortisol spike from being so high. Now, if you're stressed, I mean, if you're majorly stressed during the day, yeah, taking some first thing in the morning probably would not hurt. But if you're taking it at bedtime, just try it. Try taking 2 at bedtime, take it every night for 2 weeks, lay off a week, every night for 2 weeks and lay off a week. So what I do is I have these little baskets that I use my supplements in. And then when I pull it out of my basket, so I'll know to load it for 2 weeks in my pill reminders. And then I take it out of my basket for the next week after I know I've loaded 2 weeks. And then I have to go find my cortisop. And I'm like, oh, this is not my week. And then I'll know that the next week after I've loaded it for that week, then I go get it, throw it back in my basket and ready for the following week.
Nice.
So it's just pharmacists know how to dispense drugs. And I can do supplements. I set up 4 things of supplements every single week for me because I take them 4 different times of the day.
I'm in awe. I'm like, you and Trish, I feel like you two would get along great. And I need both, like on my screen, you're both like this. I go, this is how I need both of you guys.
Well, I was getting ready to ask Lisa too. So the other thing that comes across though is Life 9, I have heard. I don't take it on a regular basis. I'm very bad about the omegas and the like. Is Life 9 really you should not take with any other supplements? Like it should be taken on its own because it could potentially, I don't know if the right word is attack, but so.
Yes. What say you, Lisa?
I take Life 9 at bedtime.
Okay.
That's when
Nothing else or with your other subs?
I take it with all my other supplements.
Okay.
But
Oh.
I will tell you also that I don't take just Life 9. Okay. I don't take just, so I take Life 9 usually like 2 months. And then I sub in another very good probiotic and for a month. And then I go back to Life 9 for 2 months because I want my bowel populated with a lot of different microbes versus just, now you're eating plant-based, you're doing better than me. I don't eat 100% plant-based. So, but if you will change your probiotics up sometimes, if you're not noticing that it's really working very much, it'll help you.
Okay.
So
I
I do
noticed
this.
after 2 months, it's like about the last week, it's like, and then, so I go on and finish it. And then I go take another one. And then I come back to my Life 9. It's just it's what I found, what works for my body.
I do the same as Lisa. I do it every month though. I switch them because I just can't keep track of 1 month or 2 months or 3. So if I was taking Life 9 last month, it's time for the other one this month kind of thing.
And I'll show you which one I have. Hold on.
I found one. I went to a Weston A. Price Foundation talk and there was a guy there that makes sauerkraut and all kinds of he makes all kinds of fermented foods, and it is the best sauerkraut I have ever eaten. And he adds a probiotic to it, and that probiotic was made from the healthiest human microbiome they ever found, and they have continued to use that to repopulate and make more. And I'm telling you, I noticed a huge difference in the month that I take it. It's amazing. But I don't want to take that all the time either.
No,
It's the best there is, but I still don't want to take it all the time.
Well,
the other thing,
Kathy,
go ahead.
put it in because you have your screen shut. Put it
yeah,
in
I'm
the
gonna have
chat.
to. I'm gonna have to find it.
Put it in the chat. But this
okay.
one is put out by, it's called Symbiotic 365. That's what it looks like. And I can't remember, Nature MD. Yeah, Nature MD, Symbiotic 365, and it's not cheap.
So one of the things that I was thinking as you guys were saying, and Lisa, I'm glad you told Kathy, put it in the chat, because this discussion here is exactly what I envisioned for the group that we've got on the website. Now, if that's tricky, because I know we're like used to Facebook or whatever, but I'd love it if we could have just a private little group, and it, I'm willing to work with you guys if it's like, it's not working and maybe Facebook is better, but there will come a day where we don't have the discretion to say what we want on Facebook. I'll just say that. So I'm trying to get us thinking something different. So one of the things I was going to ask is everything that each of you have shared, if you can remember what you shared and just post it in the chat in the group. Or if you can email it to me or text me with it or whatever, and I'll post it so that we can all learn from each other. I mean, Lisa, Kathy, Trish, you guys have shared and Laura some invaluable information that really has been super beneficial. I mean, I've taken some notes here too. So this would, if you guys wouldn't mind.
I want to share a couple more things if you don't mind.
No, not at all. Yeah, I just want to make sure I said that. So go for it.
I appreciate it. This is from the doctors, okay? This is not something Kathy researched and found out. Doc Ollie says that and you can go find the talk in the Grow group when Doc Ollie talked about supplements. He said he researched about when to take supplements and take them with stuff and without stuff. And there has never been a study done about what you take it with or to take it at night.
What?
Yes, and he also said we can take it with inner defense.
Which I've always heard you can.
Exactly. And you can, like I said, you can go find that talk and listen to it in the Grow group. The other thing is Dr. Purser says that you take Cortistop, you start out one at night for a week. And if you don't notice a difference by the end of the week, then you add one in the morning. When you take them at night, it's for your adrenals. As Lisa said, it's to keep the cortisol down. But when you take it in the morning, it helps your thyroid. And he suggested adding one at night the third week if you need to, one in the morning the fourth week. And he did not suggest going over those amounts, more than 2 in the morning and 2 at night.
Okay.
But I'll tell you another thing. Now, this is life experience I observed. That is, my horse had a real problem. She had a crusty neck, and that's an indication of cortisol issues. And I started her on Idaho Grand Fur. It was Idaho Balsam Fur when I started her on it. And I'm telling you, I gave that horse I gave her 20 drops of Idaho Grand Fur in her lip at night, and that crusty neck went away. It was amazing. Yes, it was amazing. If I wouldn't have seen it myself, I wouldn't have believed it. So
my face is like, okay, that's awesome. Okay, thank you, Kathy. See, you guys, this information is gold. This is the kind of information that when I first started Young Living, I'm like, and we have our books, but it's like it's the chatting, right? That you share. And I found this and Kathy with the horse, and it's wow. Okay, awesome. So yes, experience, exactly. As we said, everyone's body is so different. And so as we're talking about this, then we can glean from each other. There are things coming out this week with Young Living. I know of one thing.
What? Tell us what?
No, because if I can't tell you my source either. So that's a little, on the down low. Tell us what, you're so funny. I actually have 3 things in my house right now. I'm like, I was gifted some stuff, which was really exciting. That's never happened to me. I'm so excited. Anyway, that being said, so why don't you guys, if you're going to buy magnesium, and this one I don't know. I do know one thing I don't know about the magnesium. So just maybe hold off a couple days, unless you're like, no, I need to get this done, or you're not taking it already or whatever. So, but today, tonight, and the next week, start thinking about what we asked in the beginning. What are some things you would like to see different? And be thinking like reasonable, we all know the SMART goals and all that, but really think through like, what are just the one thing? For me, I had a lot of things. My weight was ridiculous. I hadn't ran or exercised more than just walking in a long time. There was a lot. And so I was like, and my personality is like, do all the things. So if you are a me personality kind of person, which is probably not likely, my personality people, we don't hang together because too many Indian or too many chiefs, not enough Indians, right? I can say that I'm Native American. So probably you're not like that. So I'm just talking to myself. But if you are, in the event that you're like, I want to do all the things right now, let me just caution you. Don't do that. You are like that, Lisa. That's funny. So one of the things I like to share, in January 1st, everybody wants to lose 100 pounds and make $1 million. I'm like, just go buy some running shoes. Just literally just do that. Then the next week, go drive by a gym. The next week, maybe go walk into the gym. Don't even sign up. Just meet the crew, have your coffee in hand, your water bottle, whatever. Like, slow is my point. Slow is my point. I have a friend, he's in my downline. He used to be a trainer before he started working Young Living, and even did that, simultaneously. I said, Terry, I need your help. And I told him my story, and he's like, Jen, I know you used to hit the gym. I know you used to run 5 miles a day, but just go for 15 minutes. What's easy for you? Just do that 15 minutes. And that, for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, what a waste of, he's like, it's not a waste of time. Just go 15 minutes. The goal is to get it back in the routine. The goal isn't to get like cut arms, running a marathon, all that. Yes, and by the third week, the gym equipment is available. Truth. Walk in your house while you're on the phone. See, again, this is why we need a group. These are all such great hints. Getting up more. So if that's you and you just are like, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you just like, oh, we're just going to flip the tables and do all the things, don't. Just one thing. In our homeschool group, we talk about easy plus one. What is easy for your child to accomplish? And then just add the one thing that's a little bit of a challenge. And then once that becomes easy, then another thing. And that mantra, easy plus one, has been with me for 9 years. And I've used it in literally everything I teach and everything I do. Easy plus one. For me, eating wise, it was easy to stop the ice cream at night. It's weird to say that now, but it was easy. It's like, I really don't. It's expensive. Number one, it's a wasted amount of money that I'm spending at the market raising 5 kids on one income. So that was an easy one for me. Hard for me was maybe not, having a slice of cheese on something. Okay, well, maybe I won't do that for a week. And so I'm just sharing just to give you an idea of what that might look like. Supplement wise, super easy for me to get my Ningxia Red. Hard for me, choking down pills of any kind. So now I'm like, I just gotta pick. So hopefully I'll find a magnesium that's powder form. I'll take anything in a powder. For those of you who get kind of like in freeze mode where you're not sure where to start, what to begin. I mean, it's not right or wrong that you get in the freeze mode. That's just how your body deals with things. Again, just go back to what's easy plus one. What's easy plus one? We have 11 body systems. What's your one body system that you are wanting to see different? Is it your skeletal system? Is it your nervous system? Think about it. As I mentioned, we have our group on the website. I put it at the top of the chat. You guys, if you have a hard time joining, it's real easy to join on your desktop, but we all live off of our phones. So that's where most people have had a challenge. You have to download the Spaces app by Wix. It's free. And I've worked with a couple of people on getting in on that. So it is a new-ish platform for me. Please exercise tremendous patience because I am bound and determined to make this work. I've had this set up for 4 years now, but I got lazy because Facebook was easy and this was not. And then 2020 taught me like, oh, hey, talk about being prepared. I probably should have had this up and running and going back then. Here we are, 2 years later. So we'll have that. In 2 weeks, we'll come back, same time, 7 o'clock. And we're going to share the ideals. What would be the ideal thing we are doing, food, supplements, all of that. And then what worked, what didn't work, we'll check back in with each other on how we're doing and then prepare you for emotional health and wellness as we talk in July. Like every 2 weeks, we'll have a class basically. So with that, we'll end the recording.